The first doctor is someone you may already know. Former 9 Newser Dr. John Torres, aka Dr. Disaster, says it pays to be prepared, and he wrote a book about it.
Welcome to Coco, Dr. Torres. It's so nice to have you, especially as a former 9 Newser, and it's so fantastic to be able to chat with you and, maybe see if we have anything in common. I'm sure we do.
And Danny, it's great to be back to my old stomping grounds here because I was at 9 News for years, loved the station, did a lot of things with Colorado and Company with Coco. It was fantastic.
Well, it's so great to have you back, and you have so much life experience and professional experience that earned you the nickname Dr. Disaster. You have to explain this to the people that don't know.
It is a funny nickname, and it makes it sound like everywhere I go, there's disasters going on. It's actually just the opposite. I tend to go to disasters to help out a lot of people, and this was both in my military career when I was a pilot back in the day, as we say, and then once I became an ER physician, even more so, and then once I transitioned to news, did it again, ended up going to hurricanes, ended up going to earthquake areas, ended up going to a lot of other disasters. And in that time period, I noticed there were certain themes on things that worked and things that didn't work. And so that's one of the reasons behind the book, is to give people an idea how to survive these things, even though in that moment they might not be able to reference it, they'll at least have some ideas on what they can do.
Well, and it's such a timely topic right now, too. And you did reference your book, of course, which we see there behind you. What do you talk about in your guide to surviving everything?
I talk about, again, some common themes. We go into specifics for anything you can think about. Earthquakes, being stuck in an elevator, what happens if a bear attacks you, blizzards, all those things that you can think of. But I also give you specifics because there are going to be times where you can't really address it because it doesn't happen that often. And one of the examples I can give you are the volcano eruptions that are going on right now on that one island. You never know when you're going to be in that situation. But overall, there's certain themes that can control the way the outcomes happen. And the main theme is to have what I call the will to survive. And that was something that was taught both to me as a child and also when I went in the military. They teach that a lot. They really pound it into you that you need this will to survive. You need to figure out a reason to make it back no matter where you are, and keep focusing on that, because that's going to help you no matter what you do to keep moving forward. And then on top of that, just a little bit of preparation. If you're going into an area where you think there might be blizzards, just like we do here in Colorado, having equipment in your trunk, having the things you might need, and realizing it could happen at any time. And also just taking care of the family that's around you, having plans set in place in case you get separated, where can you meet? All those things come into play. And if you can get those done beforehand, then you don't have to worry about them during.
Yeah, it's something that I really have not thought about. And I think that you've probably, come across plenty of people out there who've been like, I haven't thought about this maybe as much as I should be. You gave us plenty of examples of, why we should be kind of ready and prepared in this way. What would you say makes you in particular so passionate about preparedness and making sure you're ready?
I think part of it's my training, and it goes all the way back to when I was a child. My dad was a big outdoorsman, and so we'd go out doing a variety of things, and he would always ask me questions. What would you do in a situation like that? He taught me how to navigate. He taught me how to build a fire. He taught me all those things you need to know in order to survive. And then I talk in a book about how when I went to the Air Force Academy, there was a survival course, and I, like a lot of cadets in your freshman year, thought, this isn't for me. I'm going to leave. And my dad said, well, that's fine. I'm not very happy, but I support you. But please go through that survival course. It's going to help you the rest of your life. And so I did, because he asked me to do it. I went through the survival course. And after that, things got better. My mindset got better. Everything got better. I made it through the Air Force Academy and then had my career where I ended up doing a lot of disaster work. And so that just kind of kept the fire going as far as looking at disasters, and more importantly, looking at how to survive disasters. And so I've spent my whole life essentially training around that, and just wanted to give some of that information out.
Yeah, well, and like we were talking about before, it's so relevant right now, whether it's the pandemic or we've had, plenty of riots over the past year, not to mention all of the shootings that we've been dealing with too. So for you as a senior medical correspondent for NBC and MSNBC during especially COVID right now, what would you say are maybe the top 3 tips that you want our viewers to take home today?
So the big 3 tips are: 1, have that mindset of wanting making it back, have a will to survive. Number 2, have plans in place, especially if you have a family. Make sure that you have plans on what to do if something happens. And my kids are always giving me a hard time because when we go to a movie theater or a shopping mall, I'm always asking them questions like, how would you get out of here if something happened? If there was a fire or something, how would you leave? And the exit you think you might leave through is maybe not the best exit to leave through. And then number 4, have basic things prepared at your house. Number 1, have what's called a go bag or a bug out bag. Those things you need to survive for at least 3 days, maybe even longer. And it can be anywhere from important paperwork to 30-day supply of medication to a little bit of food, clothing, first aid kit, those types of things. And then in the house, try and have things you can last on for a couple of weeks. And that's, beans, dried beans, rolled oats, those power bars, things like that. Because I think one thing we all found out in the pandemic is we might be on our own for a couple of weeks and we might not have enough toilet paper. So, make sure you stock up on those things that you need beforehand.
Yes, who knew that toilet paper would be the big seller of 2020? Well, where can we find more about you and the book, Dr. Torres?
So you can get it anywhere they sell books, Amazon.com, Barnes & Nobles, pretty much any bookstore you go to. The Tattered Cover is going to have it. So you can go to any of those bookstores. You can go to Amazon. You can go to Barnes & Nobles. It should be sold just about any place books are sold. And again, I think it's got a great amount of information. And particularly one of the reasons we wanted to get it out at this time frame is because Father's Day is coming up. It would be a great Father's Day gift. But perhaps more importantly, kids are going off to college. And when they go off on their own, I know as a parent, this is information I make sure my kids know. It'd be good information for you to make sure your kids know as well.
Yes, completely agree. Well, Dr. Torres, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a total honor. I can't even believe I'm talking to you right now, but it's been such an honor to have you here on the show, and we hope to see you soon.
And the honor is mine. Like I said, 9U's, I still consider that home.
Thanks, Dr. Torres.
Thank you, Danny and Dr. Torres. Get Dr. Disaster's Guide to Surviving Everything right now in bookstores and ebook retailers.